Everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Great Black Speakers Podcast, where we connect through conversation. I am your host, Lawrence Watkins. I am the founder and CEO of Great Black Speakers Bureau. I'm also the president and chief operating officer of the Black Business School. And today we have a very special guest. We're here with Spiceda Jackson. Spiceda is a profit and freedom strategist and also an advisory accountant at ExFinancial. ExFinancial is a business financial advisory firm that works with small businesses so that they can build, scale, and eventually sell for additional wealth and freedom. And today we're talking about how people can do this strategy and what that timeline looks like, so that more people in our community can live freely and leave a legacy behind to their family and also community. So, Spiceda, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Lawrence. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it is my pleasure. It's my pleasure. So, can you tell the audience a little bit about X Financial, and also how did you get to this point in your career of running this business?
Okay, well, I started X Financial in 2009, and X Financial started because I was an advisory accountant. I'm still an advisory accountant. I work for big four accounting firms, and I started the company during the recession. Right, kind of similar to starting a company now in the pandemic. And so, I was a deal girl. I worked at a couple of the big four accounting firms like in mergers and acquisitions. So we call it transaction advisory services. And when people stop buying houses, they stop buying companies too. And so sales side became really popular. And so I did a lot of advisory, and I worked on a deal. And it was a deal with a small business who was, trying to
I'm sorry. I'm
bump
sorry
up
to
his
interrupt you,
value.
Spiceda.
Oh,
I think we're having a little bit of a internet connection issue. So what I'm going to do is turn off my camera for. I'm still here and just to help with the bandwidth. So there we go. So yeah, so you did M&A. Yeah. So you can
So
start back
this,
up there.
so
I'm
the
sorry.
turning point. So how X Financial was founded was, I was at the big four accounting firm. I left, hopped to another big four accounting firm, and then it was during the recession. I got laid off, and so I ended up working for a small accounting firm there for a couple of months. But I was in M&A, so because people weren't buying houses, buying businesses. You know, they weren't buying houses, they weren't buying businesses. So I got laid off again, and I decided I didn't want to work in public accounting anymore. I was going to start my own business, but I always had in my heart this story on a deal that I had worked on with a small business. And he was trying to sell his business for a certain amount of money, $7 million. Well, he was actually trying to sell it for 10 million, but the current value was at 7 million according to his numbers. And long story short, my client who I was representing, which was a big guy, he was willing to pay $35 million for this company. And so that was a turning point for me in my heart, Lawrence, because at that point I realized that the little guy didn't have proper advisors to help him. Like this guy had his bookkeeper, working with the accountant, working with me. And I'm a deal accountant, so I specialize in looking for purchase price reductions for my clients. And so this guy just didn't understand that the value of his business was not in his numbers. The value in his business was in his patents and the things that he had developed over time, and the sweat equity and the synergies that my client wanted from his business. So he really didn't know the value of his business. He thought the value of his business lied in his books. And so at the end of the day, I realized that, the little guy needs expert accounting. They need to work with consultants to provide exponential value. They need to work with people with experience. And then I realized that I was ex Big Four. So that's how X Financial came about, because I didn't want to be Spiceda Jackson CPA firm. So because people already have a hard time saying Spiceda. And so I was sitting on the plane, Lawrence, and I was writing it down on a piece of paper, like all the things that I was. And, they had these ratings at the firm at KPMG, one of the big four I came from, and it was exceptional performer. And I knew that I was an exceptional performer, and I gave out excellent deliverables for my clients. And so therefore we have ExFinancial, EX, ExFinancial. was birthed and born. And here I am now 12 years later. So my journey started with, honestly, with me being laid off and just having a heart for entrepreneurship at the time. Honestly, the reason why I didn't start my firm before, because I kind of had the itch, I was afraid. And I think sometimes God forces us to the place that we're supposed to be. Because I love small businesses, and business like is my hobby almost, I feel like, but I get paid to do it. And so that's how I end up here. I want to, I'm an accountant, but I'm not your average accountant. I'm a specialist. So here I am.
I love it. I love it. And I think that's pretty awesome. So talk about when you got laid off. What was going through your head at that particular time? How were you feeling?
I felt good. Let me tell you, the story is so funny. I was like, yes, because what had happened was you mean the first time or the second time I got laid off?
Well, I know, right? I know. So let's talk about the second time when you actually made that transition into entrepreneurship.
Yeah, the second time I got laid off, I knew I was going to be laid off because I was like, I'm not doing anything. And so what had happened was I was set on the board of a nonprofit because I sit on boards. And so because I believe in serving. So I'm sitting on this board of a nonprofit, and I helped this nonprofit get $500,000 grant. And this was during the time where things were going down. And all I did was prepare the financials and did a report. And so the board thought that I had did this amazing thing. And for me, it was work that I didn't even do anymore. And somebody had told me, one of the accountants who was an entrepreneur, she was like, you people pay, a couple $100, $150 an hour for this. And I was like, what? This is just bookkeeping from my perspective. And so I wanted to do it because I had calculated the numbers, and plus I just was fearful. And so I knew I was going to get laid off because I had no work. And the reason why I was able to get this nonprofit $500,000 is because I had nothing to do at work. And so when I was at work, I would just volunteer and do work because that was part of the firm's mission, is to, get back to the community. I was giving my services. And so I did a grant application and some financial reports that were needed. And they ended up securing the financing, and the rest was history. That really gave me the confidence I needed to know that what I offered, again, was needed and valued for a small nonprofit as well as a small business. And so, I was feeling nervous and excited, but one thing I did decide, Lawrence, I decided in that moment when I knew I did not want to go back, I was not going to go back home. And so I called KPMG my home, I'll just say, because that's where I grew up in accounting, and my mentors are there. And so I just couldn't, I had too much pride to go back home. So I didn't want to go back to KPMG because I had too much pride. I knew I didn't want to work for any public accounting firm. I knew I was not a corporate accountant at my core. I'm just not a corporate accountant. I can't do the same thing day in and day out. And so I just stepped out on faith, and I did it. And I felt like if I was going to do it, I'm going to do it big. And this is actually my very first logo. I haven't even had to change it. And so when I stepped out there, Lawrence, people thought that I was big, and it was just me. They thought that I was this major corporation.
This is such a great interview, and I'm excited about it.
Thank
So
you.
I don't know if you can get a little closer to your router. You're going in and out and buffering a little bit with your sound.
Oh,
so
no.
Yeah. We're hearing every other word. I think we're getting the gist of it. And then your energy is just so positive, and you're dropping so many good gems as it relates to entrepreneurship that I want people to hear you. So I'm not sure if you're too far from your router or what it may be, but it's a little bit choppy. Go ahead.
I came back here in the back to the router.
Also, you're close to it.
Yeah, but give me 1 second. If you can, I go get my laptop. I could log in from something else that's not on the router. Am I still chopping?
No, I think this is good. I think it worked. I mean, something happened and it's doing better, but this is like such a great interview.
Magic.
Yeah, it's just the magic of us talking about it instead. So, but anyway, we'll keep going. So, no, you were excited about this, and I think that's interesting because you hear that a lot. Some people are terrified, and then some people, get really excited because they can go in a different direction. Now, do you come from a family of entrepreneurs?
You know what? I do, but I didn't know I did. So, like my parents have my mom and my stepdad have a nonprofit that they've run since I was 5 years old. And my grandfather, my great grandfather owned a candy store. My grandmother did hair, on the side. So I do come from a family of entrepreneurs, but I never thought of it as entrepreneurship because it wasn't brick and mortar entrepreneurship, except for the candy store. But I never went, and I didn't get the benefit of seeing my family in operation in a brick and mortar, but I went to the park all the time. And my parents had a concession stand. And so I would sell out of the concession stand. And my mom would sell honey drippers. I don't know if you know what honey drippers are, Lawrence, but this little the icy in a cup. My mom would sell honey drippers. So yeah, I come from a family of side hustlers and entrepreneurs.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So just for the people tuning in, I'm here with Spiceda Jackson. Spiceda is an advisory accountant and also a profit and freedom strategist and at ExFinancial. And ExFinancial is a business financial advisory firm that works with small businesses so that they can build, scale, and eventually sell for wealth and freedom. You can find out more about her business at exfinancialcpa.com. So that's exfinancialcpa.com. exfinancialcpa.com. Please make sure you like this video. Please make sure that you share and also subscribe. I love talking to Spiceda. She has great energy and knows what she's talking about too. So hopefully she's going to continue to drop gems, as I'm sure she is, throughout today's interview. So Spiceda, let's talk about specialization. In terms of specialization, first with, I guess, M&A from a Big Four perspective, and now through, I guess, the buying and selling of small businesses. Can you talk about, I guess, what's the same and also what's the difference between working at the Big Four doing this and then doing it on your own?
Working at the Big Four, of course, I work with the most diverse people I feel like on earth. Like, our team was very diverse. We always had deals going in and out, and the deals were larger. Like, I actually, when the big boys make a decision, they call their transaction accountants, like Delta. When they decided to merge with Northwest, I was on that deal. When Hanes brand, Sarah Lee at the time decided to carve out Hanes brand because they were selling off non-profitable divisions, I was on that. So it's like, in the big space, they know the value of looking at the numbers and making your decision solely driven by numbers. Now, in the small business space, the difference is, when I first went small, I was trying to offer these big old services, Lawrence, right? And so my clients would be like, yeah. I know you, yeah. That sounds good. I need that, but can you do my taxes? Can you do my bookkeeping? Because I need my books done so I can get my taxes in. And, can you help me out with IRS? And so from the small business perspective, small businesses, and I say we, because I'm a small business owner, right? We small businesses aren't afforded luxury of strategy, right? And hiring the right advisors. Oftentimes we believe that, that's such an afterthought. And, and I often say, even to my husband and to my friends and my family, we as entrepreneurs, we don't have the luxury of bad days or sad days, right? Because we have to keep going because so much depends on us. Our staff depends on us. Our family depends on us. And, it's so much riding on what we're doing. And often we're doing so many jobs. But when we initially go into business, we don't go into business thinking, you know what, I think I want to work 10 jobs, right? We go into business because we want freedom of time. We want, to spend more time with our family, or we want to make sure that we have financial freedom that we don't have to sacrifice so much for. Right? Or we just want to relax and enjoy life. Like back then when I started my business, I was single. All I really wanted to do was spend more time in my new house. And so, it's all about when you start a business, you start for freedom And, as small business owners, we often the difference between us and the big boys is we don't focus on strategy and we don't often have the end in mind. So I believe that big companies, like in short, just to even tie a bow on that even more for me, is big companies build it to scale it or sell it. And small guys often don't build it to sell it. We build it and then we're like, okay, I've replaced my income. And it's more than about building a business. And we think often we've arrived when we've replaced our salary that we had in corporate. But, I am on this mission now to teach small business owners and to just pour into small businesses to build it from the beginning to sell. Build it so that it can scale. So that one day you can sell out and not close out. And you can really be the shareholder of your business, because our businesses should be our retirement, right? Whatever it looks like for us.
Right. Yeah, no, I think that's awesome. And so for people who want to now, do you work on both sides of the transactions, help people actually buy the business and also sell their business?
I do. I work on both sides. So, I became a financial statement specialist as a sell side transaction, because when people are looking to, or companies are looking to sell, they're looking for the division that they can carve out and that can stand alone, right? So I specialize in that. And I'm like a home inspector on the buy side, right? So let's say you're getting ready to buy a house and you say, you know what, I don't really think this house is worth, $300,000. If I can get it to we may agree to 3 when we go into the house, but we're hoping that when we go in there, we'll say, it needs new carpet, it needs, air condition, we may need some windows. I'm gonna have to invest some stuff into this. I like the house, it's really interesting location, but I agreed to 300, but after my inspector gave me back this report, we're asking for 20,000 in concessions, right? That's what I do as an accountant for small business owners, or small businesses, period, on a small business deal or big deal.
Love it. So what's the number one thing that, as you are, let's say someone wants to buy or sell a business, when it comes to, I guess, coming up with that deal and valuing the business, what's the number one thing that you would tell, I guess, both the buyer and the seller?
I would say that from the buyer's, let's start with the seller, right? From a seller's perspective, I say don't limit your value to the books, and that your business is really worth different amounts in the hands of different people. So number one, you want to get the right buyer for your business. Number two, you want to make sure you seek out the value in your business and understand what your top line is and what your bottom line is, and what your intrinsic or intangible value of your business is. So a lot of times, and I always expound, so let me know if I'm expounding too much, but a lot of times we build customers in our business, right? Every business has customers or clients, and those customers and clients have a value. They have an acquisition value as well as a maintained value. A lot of times we just value the client for what they're paying us. But in the hands of another business, they may pay a strategic buyer, the person buying your business, because they have more products to sell to that customer. That customer actually may be $100 customer to you, but $1,000 customer to them. So therefore, if you value your business by what you're selling your product at, then you're going to undervalue it. You want to make sure that you know who you're selling to, and you know what your business is worth to them. And to the buyer, I say to always let the seller know. And so this is my favorite saying: is a business is only worth what people are willing to pay for it. So never let somebody, from the buyer standpoint, never let somebody tell you what your business is worth, but also don't overzealous about your business. To the seller, I say stand your ground. Make sure you look for purchase price reductions. And it's kind of like from a shark perspective, because if I'm the deal expert, I'm going to be looking at it from the aspect of my client. So I always would recommend, number one, to a seller to make sure you hire a deal accountant and don't work with your accountant who did your taxes, or your accountant who does your bookkeeping, or your accountant who did nonprofit, you want to work with an accountant who literally understands the deal and the transactions and knows how to identify and pinpoint purchase price reductions, because that's what we do. On a buy side, when we're buying a business, a buy side deal happens fast. Right? I may come in today, I may look at your business depending on how small it is. I could look at it today, I could generate a report, I can come up with some things that's going on. On a big transaction, we've sold billion-dollar companies in 2 weeks.
It's crazy, yeah.
So
I love it. Yeah, so Spiceda, I love the knowledge that you're dropping today. So can you tell the audience where they can reach out to you if they need an accountant to, go over these types of things in terms of buying and selling companies, building companies, scaling companies, all those different types of things? How can they get in touch with you?
Look, I'm very easy to get in touch with. I have a landing page, and you can find me at www.plan2profitx, letter X. You can also follow me live on my Facebook page. It's a private Facebook page, Business Combos and Coffee. I show up live every Friday with knowledge, but the easiest way to get to everything is go to www.plan2profitx, and you can hit me on LinkedIn, so Facebook, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and I have YouTube coming up. So I'll be celebrating my 50th anniversary, Lawrence, coming up.
Your what?
50th anniversary. I'm not 50th for real, because I'm not even 50 yet. But
that's what I was like, Black Show don't crack over here.
No, my 50th episode of Business Combos and Coffee. And I have like this treat of nuggets that we're preparing to deliver to the audience. So keep following us, Plan to Profit X. I'm just excited about what I have to offer and what we have coming, because I think now in the pandemic is a time to focus on your business and to rebuild it so that you can sell it one day.
All right. And you know what? I'm putting these in the notes right now. So my last question, or we've been doing something to end our interviews lately. So we've been doing rapid fire Q&A. So I have 5 questions for you, and just tell me the first thing that comes to your mind for these 5 questions.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, this is like a game. I love it. All right, I'm ready.
All right, number 1, what is your favorite business book of all time?
Flywheel.
Flywheel? Okay, so Good to Great?
Yeah, but I've never read Good to Great. I just read Flywheel. Flywheel was it was a game changer for me. And after that, I would say Rich Dad Poor Dad, although it's controversial.
Okay, gotcha. Well, the book's not controversial. He's controversial.
He's controversial.
Right? But, yeah. The book's not controversial, but that's still people's favorite book. So
I read that book when I was 16 years old.
All right. So number 2, are there any CEOs or like business gurus that you're following right now to help build your business? Sorry, excuse me.
I love Warren Buffett. I'm not following anyone right now because I've just been heads down. I do have coaches. So, outside of that, I just love Warren Buffett. But I would say, if I say that I'm following anything, what's that guy, The Prophet? I love that show.
Okay.
I watch it every day. I'm a binge watcher. So I'm following him with whatever his name is. I can't even remember. But that's who I love. I love The Prophet.
Number 3, who is your favorite historical figure from Black history?
My favorite. I would say Madam C.J. Walker. Because, she was so innovative. She took hair care and made it $1 million business. It's just amazing. I love it. So I love the innovation. I love the fact that she just was able to say, you know what? This is something that I can do. I mean, she made it all straight in her hair, but she taught us entrepreneurship.
All right, number 4, how many hours of sleep do you get at night?
4.
Woo! That's it.
I answered that one the quickest, right? So yeah, I'm so, I get, it's almost like birthing something for me, right? I often, and plus, I have the 3 and the 5-year-old about to go to homeschool. So for me, I wake up early to make sure that I get all my thoughts out. And I just like to start my day early. And I end it when I feel empty. And the
All
early bird
right.
gets the worm.
The
So
early
you
bird
got to
does get the
start
worm.
early. I mean, I would say 4 to 6 hours, but I don't sleep a lot lately. Obviously, I drink coffee and sea moss. So
Okay.
you're like, how do you
I
have all
got
this
you.
energy? I'm not on drugs. I do sea moss and coffee.
Sea moss and coffee. We interviewed plant-based Jeff yesterday, and he was talking a lot about
Oh,
the sea moss
and
stuff.
that's who I get my sea moss from.
Okay.
So get your sea moss from Jeff.
Yeah, that's right. So the last question is, if you can go back in time, what advice would you go back and tell your 20-year-old self?
Wow, my 20-year-old self. I would tell my 20-year-old self to go ahead and write that book that you wanted to write to your nieces and nephews so that you can have something to share and wisdom to share. Um, and back when I was 20, and I have to say this, when I was 20 something, Lawrence, I was an influencer before I even knew what influencer. I was student body vice president in college. I was AKA president in college. I was national paneling president in college. And I would tell my 20-year-old self to not run and hide from leadership. I would tell my 20-year-old self to lean into the leader that you are and not don't retire. Stay in the game, sharpen your leadership skills because it'll benefit you one day.
Wonderful. Spiceda, thank you so much for your time today. So everyone, please go ahead and check out Spiceda at plantoprofitx.com. That is plantoprofitx.com. Before you get out of here, please make sure that you like this video, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. And yeah, thank you, Spiceda, for just delivering information today. So Spiceda, of course, is an advisory accountant and profit and freedom strategist at ExFinancial. ExFinancial is a small business financial advisory firm that works with small businesses to so that they can build, scale, and eventually sell for wealth and freedom. So on behalf of Spiceda, my name is Lawrence Watkins. You all take care, be blessed, and have a wonderful day. All right, bye-bye.